Before you shop for your Thanksgiving groceries, Target 8 has a safety alert to help you keep your feast and your family safe this holiday.
Target 8 went grocery shopping undercover, not just to check for expired or mislabeled food, but to check up on the state's inspectors.
We hit the grocery aisles after Henry Erb discovered that the state is not keeping up with its inspections.
Our Target 8 undercover shopper examined packages of meat one by one in this small independent Grand Rapids grocery lane last month. She found several items, such as pre-sliced deli meat, that were several weeks to several months past their use-by date towards the back of the refrigerator. It's the kind of thing that we were looking for. But when we put them in our basket, a store employee suddenly appeared and started grabbing them back.
Can I take, oops, I'm sorry, what's wrong with it? We're looking to make sure it's okay. Thank you, I appreciate that.
She removed all the badly outdated items.
Is that not supposed to be out there?
But what were expired perishables doing out anyway? At checkout, we heard more.
You always look so closely at everything?
Yep.
Good for you.
Because I don't want anything to happen to people.
The store has a history of critical violations. In the state's report on a March 2012 visit, the inspector wrote that an employee failed to wash hands through the entire inspection, that the firm failed to sanitize the meat grinder, and that mouse droppings were evident in the basement. The state seized 2 outdated items and 10 pounds of what the inspectors called suspected contaminated beef.
Hi there.
At another small, independently owned store in Grand Rapids, we didn't know what we'd found when we came across this brownish liquid in the fridge, because the big glass jar holding it had no label at all.
What is this stuff? What's that?
This is one making
I'm
kimchi.
curious.
Kimchi, this is a whole fishy.
Turns out this store was cited a year ago for the same thing, offering food for sale without any type of labeling. The state also found dried residues on food contact surfaces, perishables without sell-by dates, and no designated food work area, though the store did have a sink cluttered with personal food and even toothbrushes and toothpaste. Of course, during our visits, we had no access to the food prep areas, so we couldn't tell if a store had cleaned up its act there. And even more of a concern, we discovered that the state inspectors, the only ones who can check those critical areas, are not making their rounds as often as they should.
We know we're not getting to as many places as we want to, as fast as we want to.
State food safety inspectors check grocery and convenience stores, warehouses, food processors, and farmers markets. The department sets its own standard for how often. The draft of an internal audit Target 8 investigators got, using the Freedom of Information law, shows inspections were frequently overdue.
We set a schedule that we think is responsible and probably a stretch.
Target 8 investigators examined the most recent inspection reports for grocery stores in Kent County. We looked at places classified high risk because what they sell, such as perishables and deli food, could open consumers to a greater chance of getting sick. The department's own standard says high-risk stores should be inspected every 6 months. We found that in Kent County, they hit that mark on only 35% of them. 14% were up to 6 months overdue. 47% were between 6 months and 18 months overdue. 3 stores hadn't been inspected for more than 2 years.
We set an aggressive schedule that we probably can't meet.
In Michigan, people who manage food establishments have to take classes, a test, and be certified. Inspections are supposed to make sure the manager knows about food safety and holds the staff to it to keep bad food from making people sick. And if they're slow in getting to the stores,
then some risky practices may be happening. And if we're not there to help find those and help correct those could occur longer before we do get there.
The state has 49 food safety inspectors. Each has a caseload of about 300 places. And they have to respond to emergencies, such as last summer's truckload of unrefrigerated hot dogs destined for a Kalamazoo restaurant. And the state says it wants inspectors to take time to do quality work, not just looking around, but questioning the store manager and the employees to check on what the manager says. So the biggest barrier to getting to the stores on time?
It's really having more people on the ground. I mean, and when you're covering establishments statewide in a state as large as Michigan, where it takes 12 hours to drive from one end to the other, and we have 65,000 food establishments in Michigan, between the establishments that we oversee and what our local health partners help us oversee. There's a lot of ground to cover.
He says you can help by reporting any problems you see to state inspectors. He urges you to always check for proper labels, ingredient lists, and expiration dates no matter where you shop, because state inspectors can't be everywhere. In Kent County, I'm Target 8 investigator Henry Erb.
New this year, you can check out your grocery store online. The Michigan Department of Agriculture, Food and Dairy Division is now putting grocery inspection reports on the web.
But you'll also find reports only from September 2011 going forward. You'll find links to that website inside our story at woodtv.com.